Hello, everybody. Welcome to our college football podcast that is not here to play school. We're here to talk college football. Jake Micah, Alex Micah, back at it. It's week 5, which is crazy. I was looking at that. I'm like, damn, it's week 5 already. Like, it's just
we're cruising
time
the season. It's great.
Flies when you're having fun. I guess it's a conference play in full swing this week. Remember why we're here. Thank you.
We ain't come here to play school.
Just remember what could happen. That could be you, Mo.
I think I'm past my point that I'll get drafted.
I don't know. You don't think you got anything left in the tank?
I don't think I ever had anything in the tank.
We're gonna call Coach Saban up. I'm gonna hit him up and just be like, "Hey, what's good, Coach?"
You know what? Maybe I might be able to be better than Jalen Milroe or Ty.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You don't think so? I think so.
I could probably. I might be smarter with the ball. That's my only thing. I wouldn't put it into bad spots.
I'd like to see your arm strength. That's one thing I would like to see is your arm strength.
I kind of got like a Mac Jones situation.
Can you spin it?
Nah, I don't. Maybe I could get like I've got like a Mac Jones situation. I can get like 50 yards.
Okay.
But maybe I just need some fast receivers around me. I'll put it in the right spot. They can just take it to the house. That's all I need to do. Be great.
All right. Hey, I like the confidence, and I also believe in you. I think that you could take over. I think you'd be effective and efficient.
Yeah.
You couldn't be worse than Mac Jones.
No.
If Mac can do it, you can do it.
That's true.
That's just a life motto, I think. If Mac can do it, you can do it. Yeah, that's my new life motto. All right, so we're gonna change up the format this week because it's not a really big game late in week, and you know that because College Game Day is at Duke.
Listen.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
First time ever at Durham, North Carolina. That's awesome.
Awesome is not the word.
I was writing about it yesterday, and when I looked it up, I was like, "Oh, when was the last time that they were at Duke?" The answer is never. This is the first time they've ever been at Duke.
I'm sure it'll be electric.
Hey, I mean their first primetime game they had this year against Clemson, that was electric. That was awesome.
I know. It's just it's not the college football. It's not getting me up for game day to check in on Durham, North Carolina.
This is the Duke's Mayo Bowl. It really is. The two whitest schools.
It is. There's a milk check for days. Josh Allen would have just on the whole field. But we're not starting with that game. We're just gonna run through basically. I like to do through the top 12 at this point because that's what we're going to be dealing with next year is talking about 12, 13, 14. So monitoring these top 14 teams might just be what this turns into because that's really going to be the most important thing going next year is checking the playoff whole field and bubble and everything. So kind of just getting in the habit of that.
They might switch up from a thing, it's their like a lot of teams have like statistics about like how long they're in like the AP like top 10 for like how many weeks. It might just
12.
Switch over to the 12. How many times in the top 12,
Legitimately. So we're just going to run through because everybody not everybody, but there's a lot of games. And that's what we're leading off. We're talking about like, it's not a game of heavyweights. Obviously Notre Dame Duke is it's a good matchup this week. Should be a fun game, but there's not a lot of, big top 10 matchups, anything, especially compared to last weekend, some of the big matchups we had. But those are the weekends in your college football season that tend to cause the most chaos. You tend to find a sleepy, Alabama on the road at Mississippi State or something along the lines of that. And all of a sudden that's the best part of a Saturday like that is you're just thinking, whatever, like this 2:30 slate's not going to be anything. And then, a team's all of a sudden the number 3.
The 3:30 slate. We're using Eastern time here. Come on.
I'm sorry. I can't listen. My brain just can't keep switching all these times around. So here's what you're going to get is sometimes I'll say Eastern. Sometimes I won't. That's the best I can do.
Yeah. Well, whatever. I don't even want to know. It's definitely, it's a week that on paper, it's like, oh, this isn't too exciting, but then it could end up being like one of the best weeks of the year.
Yeah,
because that's the beauty of college football. You never know what is going to happen and what team is just going to go off and shock everybody.
Well, let's go to it because we got some teams to get through. So Georgia starting this week at Auburn. Big rivalry game. Auburn has looked a mess a little bit. A terrible performance last week at a Texas A&M team who no one's really high on at this point, especially after they got trounced by Miami. They handled their business against Samford and UMass, which they should, but their only other win of the season is a 14-10 win at Cal. So the offense in games against teams that are on level playing field
against Power 5 teams.
Power 5 teams not up to snuff, and they have to play Georgia. Georgia is, I believe, what is the line on this game?
14.
14?
Yeah.
14 and a half even I have it as.
DraftKings says 14.
So I think Georgia, I feel pretty confident. If on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident you feel in Georgia this week, I feel like I'm like a 9, 10. I feel like I'm a 10. I feel like Georgia.
I don't want to give a 10 because you never know, but it's like a 9.9 if that's what you can give.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like this is the thing right now. Georgia like seems every game like they're kind of just on like cruise control. They haven't like fully unleashed an offense. The defense is still just like lights out. That they don't have to necessarily be they're being regarded as the best team in the country, but right now in the way their schedule is, they don't even have to be the best team in the country. They're gonna cruise through this SEC schedule that they have for the most part, and then have an SEC East title berth for sure. So I mean, they're 14-point favorites at Jordan Hare, and I think they'll cover that like fairly easily.
I am very worried about this potential of this game being like 10-7 at halftime. I feel like it could be like that's a very typical, and with Carson Beck, I don't know, but I could see it, and then it's like 31-10 the game ends up.
Yeah, you know I mean that's what we kind of saw it when I said a couple weeks ago when I had South Carolina they covered. I mean, South Carolina was up 17-7, and then they got shut out the second half.
Yeah, and this is at Auburn, so that's
they're orange out. I saw a tweet earlier.
Yeah, well, that worked out so well last year for their orange out. It's Kirby Smart does love slow starts. And that's the thing with all these games this week too, and that's kind of the trend that we're looking at this week is there's a lot of these top teams on the road in environments of teams that they should beat, but these teams are going to be it's going to be crazy atmospheres and feel like the biggest day on campus for a lot of these games. And Auburn, this is not the biggest day on campus for them, but they do hate Georgia, and that crowd's going to be going crazy for this game. I don't think it matters in this one. I think Georgia handles business, but yeah, it's definitely that 14.5 is definitely tricky when you think if Auburn's defense can mess with Carson Beck at home, this game, you could see it being like 24-10 or 20, I don't know, 20 if it goes bad for Georgia, but also I can see
not covering,
but Georgia defensively could make their own impact plays where that's where they get like a pick six or a turnover and make something happen there.
Yeah.
That's
what's this rivalry's name, Jake? Do you remember?
Is this good old fashioned hate?
No.
Or is this the Deep South's oldest rivalry?
Yeah, there you go. Deep South.
Okay. It's good old fashioned hate, Georgia and Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think the Bulldogs will be able to handle that. Number 2, Michigan, going to Nebraska. And Mo didn't even want to preview this game. He was like, this game, we don't even need to talk about it. What do you know? And then I agreed with you. I'm not going to hate. I agreed with you right away. I was like, yeah, whatever. But then I looked at then I had to sit with it as I was going through looking at these games. And I'm like, all right, here's what we're dealing with is Michigan, who just like you just copy and paste their last 4 games, basically like around 30 points, 3 possession win, like ho hum. So this is the first kind of like wrench in the schedule. That's the first thing. Second thing is I like Matt Rule, college coach, and I feel like he's a good motivator, and I feel like he's going to have these guys up for this game, which you look at Nebraska's schedule. This is their biggest game on the rest of their schedule. The rest of their schedule, I mean, they've got Iowa in the rivalry game. Obviously they play Wisconsin later in the year. Those are big games for the division, but they play the number 2 team at home. That's the biggest game. So if you're going to get up for a game, it's going to be this one. And their defense has been great all year, besides the trip to Colorado where, Shedeur Sanders lit them up. And that's still, I mean, Colorado with Travis Hunter, when he gets back, they might just start doing that to everybody again. You know what I mean? So
I mean, it's highly possible.
I'm just saying there's a formula here where this game is like 17-14 going into the fourth quarter one way or another. I really believe that.
I think that's highly possible, and then Michigan probably just blows it open.
Yeah, I see a long Blake Corum run blowing this game open at some point, but I just feel like Nebraska and Rule gets up for these games, man. He did this great at Baylor too, where he would win games that you didn't think he should win or be in games when they were first making their rise and everything too.
Yeah,
they were doing it up there. He was an embarrassing NFL coach, which is why I said Matt Rule and a college coach. They are two different people in my brain, so I try to treat them as such. But maybe that's how you get the bag, though.
Saban was a bad NFL coach. It is like arguably the greatest college coach of all time. Yeah, some guys it's a different breed. It's a completely different animal, college and the NFL. So I mean, Matt Rule has done this with two other programs already. With Temple, he's turned them back around, and then they fell apart, obviously. Then Baylor turned them back around, and I mean, this year they're bad, but David Random had them doing solid. They won a Big 12 title two years ago. So I mean, it's possible he can turn it around with Nebraska. It's all going to depend on the defense, and if they can get turnovers on JJ McCarthy, he threw 3 picks against Bowling Green, whose Bowling Green defense is not like lights out by any means.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's something to keep an eye on. He's been able to have a very high completion percentage this year. It's not like they're just like dink and dunk passes, but I don't know. It'll depend how much they can put him into uncomfortable spots.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I don't know I don't think they're gonna cover. It's 17.5. I
said lose by 10. I think it's going to be 24-14. I think that's it's a Big Ten football.
It's a moral victory for Nebraska.
Good. That's a good moral. We'll take moral victories, right? I mean, I don't know. It's just I feel like it's going to be a Big Ten-esque game. A lot of the game, a rock fight. Michigan's offense will have some trouble. That crowd is going to be nuts. The atmosphere is going to be crazy there.
Yeah, I mean, always is like a sellout.
But let's go to the next one. Number 3, Texas, at the same time going to Kansas. Or no, they're hosting Kansas. Sorry, and 2 years ago, as you mentioned in the article, they had one of the legendary college football games, 57-56, lost to Kansas in double overtime, which was like the dark moment. Like that was like the point where Texas football was like, we got to figure some shit out,
very dark moment. Very dark moment for Steve Sarkisian in his first year.
For sure. That was the low moment to get to where we are now with Texas, national title contender. And if they just hold serve, okay, here, you ready for this take? Lock of the year, Kansas +16. I hammered the Texas spread already. So
no, I think Texas wins. I think Texas wins by like 21.
I have not. So I'm deferring to you here because I've not watched any Kansas football this year, and I'm sure that you've at least watched a couple quarters of Kansas football.
I mean, they're not like amazing. They're fine. They are. I mean, they just got into. I mean, they're undefeated.
They had the game against Illinois, right? That was
they had the game against Illinois, and they
30-28. I think it was.
No, they won. They won a little bit bigger than that. They won.
Oh no, that was Illinois against Toledo.
They won 34-23, so they won by 11.
Okay.
And then they beat Nevada 31-24. Like, why are you only beating Nevada by that? And then they beat BYU. They were favored against BYU. They beat BYU by 11, 38-27.
Okay.
But this is their first true road test. The only other time they were on the road this year was against Nevada, and that was the 7-point game.
Yeah.
Where they were huge favorites and only won by 7. The way this Texas team has been playing, it's probably the best defense that Texas has had in 15 years at least.
Yeah.
Everyone is just they're completely locked in. Xavier Worthy and Jordan Whittington are kind of slow in the pass game a little bit at first, but then they kick it up. Xavier Worthy has at least one insane punt return every single game where he picks up 40 yards. He's dying to break one and have a big impact on the special teams.
There are not enough people talking about Xavier Worthy as just one of the most electric players in college football. Like he does not get enough respect for like what he does on a night-to-night basis, has done it since last season, and he's going to be
since his freshman year, 3 years now.
Yes, and he's going to be a force on Sundays. Like the dude is going to be an animal. So yeah, Xavier Worthy is electric, and people.
He's a walking first-round pick at wide receiver who doesn't get talked about enough for whatever reason. Because I don't know, maybe the stats aren't fully there. But I mean,
they will be.
He's had a problem with drops last year and then a part of this year, but he's becoming more and more dependable. And that maybe just because him and Quinn weren't on the same wavelength for a while. But you know who they're not getting talked about either is their tight end Jatavion Sanders, who is leading the team in yards and is just up east, and especially run after catch. He's great. So I mean, this Texas offense is just built different. I mean, we saw what it did to Alabama's defense.
Yeah,
they handled them. So, I don't think the plus 16 is not a lock in any sense.
Well, I think that Texas is still just going to keep surprising people because everybody's just waiting for the shoe to drop. You know what I mean? Like everybody, you know what I mean? Like everybody's just like, Texas is Texas really back? Like that's kind of the deal. You know what I mean?
The only thing is they can't get caught looking forward to next week because next week is Red River.
Well. That's true, but they
can't get caught looking ahead.
And they did get caught looking ahead a little bit at I feel like they got caught looking ahead a little bit the week before Alabama game as well.
Yeah, when they were playing Rice. Well, it was weird. They kind of had like a little bit of a look ahead when they were playing Rice, and then they kind of rested on their laurels a little bit when they played Wyoming the week after.
Yeah.
But I still am confident in them, but that's the thing to look out for is they might be getting in their heads a little too much about Oklahoma. But
we shall see. I think they're still the better football team, but I could see plus 16. I could see like 38-24 that game being something like that. Like I think Texas is going to get their points, but I feel like Kansas is going to be able to score a little bit too. Let's go on. We've got Ohio State's on bye this week. They host Maryland next week, but let's talk a little bit about just obviously the win last week against Notre Dame. It's a huge win for Kyle McCord, apparently for Ryan Day and his war against geriatrics. That's part of his big deal. Here's the great point about what Lou Holtz said, whatever, is that he cut through the bullshit after that, and he was not like offended, didn't stoop to Day's level of getting whatever. He was like, he's just insecure because he loses all the big games. He's like, and they still got bullied in the trenches. Like he said, I still think Notre Dame is the better team, which whatever, they lost the game, but they did get bullied in the trench. Ohio State's offense, if Ohio State's winning a game 17-14, they're doing something wrong. Like that's not how Ohio State wants to win football games. So Notre Dame, I think, Notre Dame played an awesome game, played Ohio State about as well as you can defensively. Success basically, took away all their big plays and everything else. And Kyle McCord and Ryan Day, to their credit, executed. The whole offense executed in one late drive, 2-minute situation, which how I love talking about like scripted drives and everything like around that. You know how many times they've run a 2-minute drill since the spring? So you want to talk about scripted drives. That's been a scripted 2-minute drill for literally 7 months. So if your quarterback can't run the 2-minute drill in that situation, and mind you, it's atmosphere and everything, but that's why you're a starter at Ohio State to deliver in these situations. He clearly has the chutzpah to get through it. You know what I mean? So he proved that part. But you can run a 2-minute drill. You can run a 2-minute drill in your sleep if you just execute and everything. Notre Dame fucked that up. Like Notre Didn't have 11 people on the field by the end. Like
that's what you said. You said, they had enough people, they played a perfect defensive game until the last play.
Yeah. Which we should investigate Marcus Freeman. I'm sorry, bro.
Well, Marcus Freeman's reasoning saying it's so dumb saying, well, I noticed that there was 2 plays. The last 2 plays they ran on defense. He said that there was 10 guys on the field. He said he noticed in the second play, but didn't want to try to get the penalty. Wait, what does it matter if you get the penalty? They're already at like the half-yard line.
It's the same argument for the tush push in the NFL. Why are these teams not just putting 15 dudes on the field? Like, okay, Eagles, try to score. Like, go keep getting your half inch to the line. Like, let's put 75 guys on the field, and you're never getting through. It's like the same. It's literally the same concept in this scenario. Like, just how do you have less guys on the field?
Yeah.
Send everybody on the field. Like, this is the biggest play of the game. How do you not have
no one?
And they called a timeout. How do you call a timeout and not have anybody on the field?
I don't know. No one lined up on the left side of the offensive line or on the right side of the defensive line, I should say. No, I mean, we had this argument, not argument, but this discussion a couple weeks ago about the big boy throw. Because I was like, I don't like that term. I think it sounds dumb. Well, if anything deserves it though, it's Kyle McCord's throw to Egbuka.
That's true.
Right on the 1 yard line, that was definitely a big boy throw.
Yeah,
that was solid. Got to give props to that. Also, I mean, 14 carries, 104 yards. I mean, that run game was clicking. If that run game is going, then McCord doesn't have to do a lot of work.
Well, it's true. And Henderson, people, I don't think people forget about Travion Henderson, but he definitely doesn't get enough hype for that offense. He's a 5-star guy that probably runs a 4.33 like next year at the combine, legit. And then it's going to be like a third round pick by some team. Yeah. So, it was I thought, it was definitely a struggle, and they're still going to have tough games when they play Michigan, when they play Penn State, especially with the defenses they're going to be dealing with, because both those defenses are better than Notre Dame's and have better athletes and everything else. But that was a great moment for McCord, I feel like, to just show, like, I wanted to know what he had, like, just as a competitor more than anything. Like, okay, bud, you've struggled all game. You're down. You need a touchdown with like this much time, whatever it was when they started, and he did it. I mean, he did it. He pulled it out. He got to give him the credit. And like you said, that throw to Egbuka takes some balls, and he did it with decisiveness, made the throw, let it rip, and it happened for him. So I mean, it was a good win on the road, but the Buckeyes, they're going to struggle if they play like that against Penn State or Michigan for sure.
Yeah.
Let's go to FSU, who last week, you have to tell me how the end of this game looked. I went to Wrigley Field for the second half to see the Cubs, so I didn't see the second half of this game. I was watching it on my phone, but they beat Clemson in overtime in a back and forth matchup. Clemson had a chance, I believe, to win in the last minute, and the kicker, who just joined the team on Tuesday or whatever it was, who was doing great the whole rest of the game, hit a field goal, hit all his extra points, misses a 30-yarder, right?
He was retired. He was a retired kicker.
He's done.
Yeah. And he got called up. Dabo was like, "Hey, we need you." He's like, going on retirement. I don't know how this works. And he came in. He had the first score of the game was a field goal. He hit it, and it was solid, nice moment, whatever. Really, what kind of killed him on more so even before. I mean, the missed kick right before overtime that killed him.
Yeah.
It was also Cade Klubnik giving up the ball, and then it was a scoop and score for Florida State that tied up the game.
Yeah.
At 24. And then they got worked and pretty quickly in overtime. It was a quick little Jordan Travis pass, and then Florida State escaped. But that's kind of why they dropped in the rankings. They were 4 going in, and then now they're 5. It's kind of just because they I don't know, they're sneaking by these last 2 teams. They snuck by Boston College, and then they snuck by Clemson. They're definitely they don't look you beat.
No.
It's not the same team, at least, that they were week 1 when they destroyed LSU. They haven't looked like that. So maybe they were a little preordained as the ACC front runner, and that they're a top 3 team and a college football playoff team. But
we're also going to find out how real LSU is too. I think that it also talks. Yeah, I mean, Clemson's not a good team, and I feel like FSU should have handled that game, and they were in a dogfight and should have lost the whole way.
James texted us and said, "Fuck that kicker."
Fuck that kicker. Yeah, I that's what I tweeted out. I said, how many people got screwed by the Clemson kicker? Because I'm sure there were a lot of hammered bets on the Clemson there, and saw him lining up for that kick, and we're like, all right, they're counting their money, they're counting their bets. You can't get ahead of yourself. It's a tough world out there. All right, Penn State is here. They're in Chicago, in Evanston, facing Northwestern tomorrow. I don't have a lot to say about this game. If Penn State struggles at Northwestern, there's no gross, windy Windy City weather. It's supposed to, like you said, it's beautiful. It's going to be 75 degrees and sunny in Evanston. Penn State should win this game like 45-6, like or something like that. It should be,
ideally, yeah.
I
I saw some like college football like Twitter account doing they have like some system they do for prediction. They had 38-7.
There we go.
So,
sounds good to me.
Yeah, Penn State is 27-point favorites.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Did you see what James Franklin said in his media day on Wednesday?
No.
Yeah, he said they were asked about it because they usually listen to music all through practice, and he said that for the last like hour and a half they turned off all the music to get ready for the environment of being at Northwestern. They're averaging 17,000 fans a game right now.
This is why you guys, I will not be attending this game. I have a work event tomorrow to go to, but Dad texted me the other day you both texted me this week about wanting to go to this game or ask if I was going. And I texted my dad. I was like, listen, to be honest, I've never been to a Big Ten stadium, never been to a big college football game. The last place I would want to go for my first ever Big Ten experience is Northwestern in 2023.
Ryan's Field? You're not feeling Ryan's Field?
So I'm cool. I'm cool with it.
It's $15. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I could spend a better $15. I'll buy some nice lunch to watch the game with for that $15. Yeah, this is gonna be a barn burner. And then when I say that, I mean, I don't know. I had something in my head. I had a joke and I lost it. It's gonna just be bad. Not a barn burner in any way. The most barn burning thing is gonna be the
run game, because I didn't realize this until today. I was looking at stuff. Northwestern is ranked 112th in run defense. They're letting up 185 yards a game. So if Katron, Allen, and Nick Singleton they're gonna have destroy Northwestern, then we need to have a reassessment of the run game.
Just hammer the over on their yards, whatever it is. I don't know. But another team that I think you should hammer the over on everything is Washington. And they are at Arizona. They're 19.5-point favorites. I also have them in my can't miss parlay for tomorrow for college football. I think this is a wash. Arizona stinks and Washington is really, really electric.
Explosive.
Yes.
Michael Penix has 1,600 yards through 4 games.
It's crazy. If you say he's your Heisman front runner, they scored 59 last week.
He 100% should be the Heisman front runner. It's him.
1,636, 16 touchdowns. I mean, it's just
one pick, right?
Yeah, they have 3 receivers over 20 receptions right now too. Like it's nuts.
Romeo, is it Romeo or Rome?
Yeah, Adunze. He's got, I believe he's got 544 yards right now on 27 catches through
last
4
week
games.
At the half, he had over 100 yards receiving, and he had an 80-yard punt return touchdown.
Yeah.
Why he's playing out of his mind right now.
Why I think they're going to work this Arizona team. Arizona, who just barely beat Stanford last week. Not a great endorsement there. UTEP 31-10, so decent win, but it's not a very dominant win. A loss at Mississippi State, who, when we talk about that game later, I don't think that's a good loss at all. And then they beat Northern Arizona, so at least they got the directional schools. But
with Austin Eckler, right? Northern Arizona?
Yeah, that's right. The next 5 weeks of games, though, the Pac-12 is just a murderer's row.
Right now, no one would have guessed for the season.
Their next 5 weeks versus Washington, at USC, at Washington State, hosting Oregon State, hosting UCLA. That's a tough stretch. And then after that, I
ranked or are just outside of the top 25.
If you want me to go, like that's just the conference play. But yeah, those are all top 25 teams basically, except Washington State's they're like 27 or something like that, or 28 this week.
Still ranked.
Are they still ranked?
I thought so. UCLA isn't ranked anymore.
Oh, that's right.
UCLA was like 22 when they lost to Utah.
Yeah.
Washington State's 16. Yeah, they're.
That's right.
Yeah.
So not looking good for Arizona. I wouldn't put too much stock into that. But the team that they would play after that, USC at Colorado, number 8, USC. It's a big noon kickoff, which everybody's making such a big deal. Like Colorado kids aren't playing at 10 a.m. too. It's like it's mountain time for them. So why does the 9 a.m. matter that much to USC. Like they're playing morning football. That's what's happening.
That just gives these kids more reason to drink out during the day.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be a party afterwards.
Yeah.
Especially if Colorado gets a win, which I don't think is going to happen here. Mostly, I would be more inclined to pick them for an upset. Travis Hunter is still hurt. Travis Hunter might be the best player in college football. We were talking about that the first couple of weeks, playing both sides of the field, dominating. Without him, I'm not picking Colorado to upset any of these teams. Like they need him, no matter how much I love Shedeur and that offense and everything. And I do think they'll be able to score points. This is going to be a much different game than last week. They're not going to get dominated in the trenches. Their defense is what I'm worried about here. And the other quarterback and Lincoln Riley taking advantage of that, because USC has been they've just been on a roll offensively. Caleb is on another level, and I don't see how Colorado is slowing them down.
That's the thing,
man.
You have to just hope that you just have to hope that one of your guys makes a play.
Yeah,
they got to steal a possession. That's the only thing they can really hope about, because it's going to be
It's going
to just be a track meet the entire time between both these teams. And that's USC's biggest flaw. And I mean, that's why they're down to 8 now in the polls, is because their defense isn't there. They let up, what was their score last week against Arizona State? I watched like 3 quarters of that game then it became a blowout, but it was close for a while.
Yeah, I don't remember what it ended up, but
I gotta look at what it was. It was concerning for USC. 42-28 at the half. It was 21-13.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah. So I mean,
playing with their food. They got a big game. They know, even if it doesn't feel like a big, like it's not a ranked matchup and everything, this is obviously a huge spot in this game. They know how much, especially that UFC offense, Caleb Williams, everybody knows Caleb Williams' name by now, I would imagine, if you're a casual football fan. But this game is going to be one of the most watched games of the year, just because it's Colorado and everybody's watching these games.
Every single game that they have is just breaking records.
Exactly. And so Caleb is really this is a big opportunity for him to, show out on a big stage, on one of the biggest stages he's been on yet, and really captivate himself to a more casual football, professional NFL audience, because he is going to be the number 1 pick next year. Teams are going to be tanking, trading up for him, all of that. And he's going to be the story of this game. Like, Colorado is the fun story, everything else. And somehow, we're not talking about Caleb Williams enough going into this game. And this dude is going to remind everybody, I think. The hype, I think, is going to switch a little bit from Colorado back to Caleb, where I would say it belongs. Like, Shedeur is an awesome prospect, but Caleb Williams is generational, and he's been amazing since the first time he stepped on the field 2 years ago for Oklahoma. And so I think that he's going to,
his first carry was like a 40-yard touchdown.
Yeah. So I think I think Caleb knows the stage he's going to be on. USC knows the stage they're going to be on, and they're going to show out tomorrow.
What's your prediction for viewers? Last week, Colorado at Oregon got 10.03.
Yeah. So big.
Are they breaking 10?
Yeah, because it's USC too, man. Yeah, I think they hit like 9.5 or something for big news. 9.5 to be crazy.
So that would be the 3rd most watched game of the year.
Yeah, they're all Colorado.
Well, breaking Colorado State, Colorado, who is the 3rd right now. Colorado has 4 of the top 10 most watched games of the year right now. And
it has to be more than Colorado State, because that was a late game. This is like everybody can watch. Everybody, I guess early, but everybody can tune into this game for at least 20 minutes probably tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like true. even some family that has like some crazy schedule can catch the beginning or end of this game probably and get a viewership. And everybody's gonna want to tune in to see. Like, if you're at noon, you can watch college football. You're probably just going to put this game on just because you're interested. Like, what if Colorado does if this game, best case scenario, it turns into a shootout between Shedeur Sanders and Caleb Williams, and that sounds fucking awesome to me.
Yeah.
Like, I'll sign me up for that.
Who doesn't want to watch it?
So,
quick, also, Ohio State Notre Dame, that's the 2nd most watched game. It was just shy of 10 million. So last week, the two top games.
It's amazing. Huge numbers in AEW Collision still going up. Just saying.
Is it? I don't know.
It is. It was 560 last week. They've been staying strong. Well, I'm not saying you're watching it.
Not during college football. I'm not on Collision. But
Let's go Oregon, Stanford, Oregon. We talked about Oregon a little bit. We don't have to talk about them a lot here. But they dominated in the trenches.
Yeah, and it's going to be an easy game. Bo Nix is playing Bo Nix has been playing for
He's a
5 years now as a starter. He looked really good last year, and he's kind of just continued that play. Oregon's just really well built all around. And Stanford is just, the ACC future right there is not looking good for them right now.
They'll beat Rutgers sometimes.
Rutgers isn't in the ACC.
Oh, ACC. I thought you said I'm thinking.
Are you thinking Oregon's future in the Big Ten?
Yes, I'm mixing. This realignment is gonna throw me off with my quick quips. Stanford and Cal should be in the Big Ten. I think that's why my brain just still has them going to the Big Ten. If the other schools are going, they should be there too.
Pac-4. They should have just stayed with Oregon State and Washington.
Well, the ACC is not going to exist from what we know it as it is. This summer is going to be different for the ACC.
Oh, the Saudi ACC or the Saudi Florida State.
I just feel like they got the grant of rights, all these other things, blah, 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 whatever. Like when push comes to shove this summer and all these places are about to turn over and get these new deals, I just feel like the ACC is next up on that. But we'll see. I don't know who Stanford might be, Duke sometimes. Not currently constructed. They could beat Syracuse, maybe. Now Syracuse is kind of solid.
Syracuse is 4-0 right now.
I got Syracuse beating Clemson.
Syracuse is what, I think they're the number 3 team for points per game right now.
Yeah, they're cooking, man.
Yeah, they're cruising.
The Orange are out here. So no, I don't know. Stanford.
What is let me look quick. What's Oregon's spread in this game?
If that might end up the real barn burner at noon. Clemson at Syracuse.
Penn State Northwestern, that's the barn burner.
It's not a barn burner. I made that mistake earlier. Can we talk about Utah and Oregon State, which happens tonight?
Yeah, Friday night.
I believe it's at 9:15 Eastern. This should be a really fun game. And
it should definitely be a very fun game.
I made the mistake of betting the Utah money line in a parlay at Corvallis, and I'm terrified. No, so that's how I feel.
Nighttime at Corvallis.
Nighttime Corvallis. I thought I wasn't thinking about the venues when I put it in, and now I'm extremely scared. But I don't. I really. The reason I don't pick Utah in the first place, though, Mo, is because I've been trying to fade Utah all year, and they just keep fucking me over.
No, I say it. Yeah, I say it. I'm not even betting. I just say it outright. Every time we talk about them, I'm like, no, they're not that good. And they just keep on winning games. It's
so that's what I feel like is going to happen tonight.
He's good. He's just a good coach. They're figuring out ways to win.
Exactly. And that's what I feel like is going to happen tonight. I feel like what I love about Utah is you can't bully Utah. So it's going to be it's going to be a difficult game no matter what. You just can't bully them. So I don't know. I think your Oregon State very well. I think the spread is really tight. It's
4.5. Oregon State is.
It's moving. It's flying.
4.5 point favorites.
Yeah. So
and, that's the thing. Lower ranked team, but favorites at home. Night game. Strange things happen.
I don't know. They're daring you to take Utah on that right now because it's just flying up. Do
you take the under? I would take the under.
Yes. That's how Utah wins this game, I think, if they do win this game. But this is going to be a really interesting one, and I would put Utah if I'm bringing back the upset meter that I brought earlier. This is a 10 out of 10 upset meter, or this is a 1. If I felt like you had a life on the line, I'd say like a 4 that Utah would make it out of here, and my confidence in them. I don't know.
Are they the upset though? They're not favored.
Well, I guess a Vegas upset would be Utah winning, but the lower ranked team beating the higher ranked team in my mind is not an upset, just a loss. Then just an L in general. But
I don't know. Still no Cam Rising, so I think that's.
We shall see.
Is he ever going to play this year? I don't know. They're almost bowl eligible without him.
Yeah, they're doing okay. So another big game. We talked about it a little bit. Notre Dame and Duke tomorrow.
College game day, 7:30 ABC. The wonderful game. I can't wait. It is. I think Duke's going to win.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Duke pulls this game out. Duke has looked good this year. Notre Dame might be reeling a little bit. Notre Dame 5.5-point favorites on the road, but like we're talking about ranked team, road game, tough. This is going to be their Duke's best environment probably ever.
Yeah, I mean,
hosting Notre Dame.
I mean, they're going to be. I mean, what? It's the Cameron Crazies, right? That's the for basketball. I mean, yeah, this is the biggest football game that a lot of these people are going to ever get to see in person.
Yeah, the fact that they're ranked the year that Notre Dame is coming there and as a part of the ACC agreement is just like a stroke of luck for that, and just
it's a great situation and it's so much fun. Is that it's 7:30 ABC? So I assume that's the Herb Street game.
I believe so. Well, yeah, it's Notre Dame too, so it makes sense that they would do that game.
This is no Fowler.
Is he out?
Reese Davis at Herb Street.
Where's Chris taking just a he doesn't even this ain't a real game. Chris decided to take the week off.
Maybe he called because he called the game on Monday. I don't know. Maybe
don't they are there 2 games again Monday?
No, there was a game.
That's Monday. Probably it though. He's probably like, I don't feel it. I can't do all that in the same week.
Yeah,
they're like, it's Duke. That's all right. We'll put Reese up there.
Yeah, and freaking Kirk, man. Kirk
don't care about your schedule.
He was in Lambeau last night, and now he's hanging out in Duke.
Well, no, he's not. He went from Lambeau on his PJ to Cincinnati, and he's hanging out there, and then he's gonna fly to Durham. He'll be all right.
Well, I'm sure he's in Durham now. I would assume.
Yeah, him and Pat McAfee probably drinking some whiskey somewhere right now already.
Maybe
watching high school football. I imagine. So yeah, I'm with Duke too. I think this is going to be a fun game, and I think Notre Dame's going to be
Duke's 5.5-point underdogs at home.
Yeah, I think they're going to cover at the very least. We got 2 games left. Alabama at Mississippi State. Do you think Alabama could get upset here? I feel like they're going to handle business, honestly.
Yeah, I think they handle business.
We're due for like a Bama just beat down of somebody,
I don't know if that's this Bama team this year, though. I don't think
the defense. It's defensively it needs to happen. And I feel like Mississippi State's offense. Seeing what the Mississippi State LSU game from a couple weeks ago, Bama can have that same success offensively. I think. Like just from Milrose running, like he's not going to have to air it out really in this game. They're going to be able to move the ball the way they kind of want to. And Mississippi State, man, like they've let up against SEC competition 37 and 41 points. So I just feel like Bama's going to have their way with them. But we shall see. It's a 14.5-point spread.
I don't know. I want to see Will Rogers just light it up. That'd be a lot of fun. He's so close in all these passing records for college football and SEC.
Yeah, that's true.
Just going on throwing for 500 yards against Bama would be awesome, and Starkville would be going wild.
Yeah,
but I don't know. You're right. The Alabama's defense needs to figure some stuff out. They have not they lost a lot of talent last year in the draft. Obviously, Willie Anderson and Brian Branch. And everyone thought, Dallas Turner, this is going to be his year now. He's not going, he's not opposite sides of Will Anderson. He's going to be able to light up, and he hasn't done it yet. We haven't seen him be able to really get to the quarterback and take over a game. And that's what, that's kind of a new thing for Bama to not see that on their defense. But I don't know. They're still one of the best coach programs, ever, and they always still have talent. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is a game where they just blow things out.
I agree. I'm not on Bama upset alert watch. I'm on Bama blowout alert watch.
I'd give it a 9.
A 9, yeah. All right, this is your game. I feel like this is your game of the weekend. The Magnolia Bowl. Ole Miss thought they were going to get it done last week in Tuscaloosa. Didn't get it done, but opportunity here to take out and really take control of that. At least spot behind Alabama.
Really make the SEC West messy is if Ole Miss beats LSU, upsets LSU.
And this is a LSU at Ole Miss. That is a tough environment for an LSU team who I'm not convinced by yet. I'm not convinced they can handle this kind of moment. And we saw them, and it's obviously week 1. Just you see how they turned out in that second half. They're only 2.5-point favorites on the road at Ole Miss, so that Vegas has this game coming down to the last possession, and I feel like that's what it's going to be. Maybe last team with the ball type of deal. It should be a lot of points. 66.5 is the total. But I just feel like Ole Miss gets it done at home. This is the one that I'm really leaning on Ole Miss upsetting and throwing the SEC for a loop, because then if LSU beats Bama later on, which I still feel like LSU is good enough to do,
they are. Oh, they are for sure. And then they did it last year.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, it's very possible. Ole Miss, I keep on saying every week or wherever. Anytime I write about them, I'm like, Lane Kiffin needs to find his signature win. He's had some ranked wins, but this needs a signature win. I thought last week Bama was going to be it, and they kind of just got dismantled. This week it might be it. I think Lane Kiffin's a better coach than Brian Kelly. If I was a recruit in the South, I would go with Lane Kiffin. I wouldn't go with my family at all. I'd go with Lane.
That's what's interesting about this game is it really is a litmus test for LSU, for LSU, it's more interesting for me because, LSU, we had you as a national title contender. We gave you this respect at the beginning of the year, and you shit the bed week 1. And they've been consistently behind all these teams, hanging around 13, whatever. They're not going to move up at all until chaos starts happening. And they also have to prove to the voters and everybody else in the country that they belong to be in that conversation. And this is their first real chance to do it. And I just feel like they're not, I don't know. I just feel like Ole Miss has been at that level too, and we're really gonna find out where they both stand here. Like you're talking about recruiting wise, everything else. This is a big kind of litmus test, and you got to think about it for the future too. Next year, Oklahoma and Texas come in too. These teams are both. If there's anybody who's going to be affected, it's LSU and Ole Miss the most. Because that second tier behind Bama and Georgia is really what's up for grabs. Texas, where no one's going to trust Texas and Oklahoma
in the SEC in general, and then SEC West, where
there's going to be no more East and West after this year, anyways. So,
I didn't know if they were eliminated completely.
They're doing the 3 protected rivalries, and then
and it's just a free for all with the kind of the way the ACC does it, where it's just anybody can get into the
top 2. I think top 2 teams.
Yeah. 2 teams. Okay.
Well, tiebreaker goes to the 2 higher ranked teams in the college football playoff poll, I believe.
No, some chicanery can happen.
Of course. Bama's gonna be number 6 this week instead of Ole Miss. Sorry. Yeah.
No, it really. I mean, if these teams are trying to push into that level of Georgia and Bama, and then Texas and Oklahoma coming in, and the way Texas is right now, and Oklahoma to a degree too, they're getting pushed down to a 3rd tier even. Is that it's basically like Georgia, maybe even Texas right now, depending on how this whole season goes, and then Bama, Oklahoma, and then everybody else.
Yeah,
this might be the way it goes, but
we shall see. But I think that tomorrow is going to be a very chaotic, it's gonna just a little topsy-turvy. We're gonna have some results that throw everything into whack of what we want to believe. And next weekend, like you said, Red River on the docket.
That's the big. Let me look. I want to see what else is going on.
There's a couple other big games on there. LSU, Missouri, which could be if LSU wins.
I mean, right now ranked 23rd. I mean, they're not
exactly. Ohio State, Maryland are both going to be undefeated, so that's an interesting matchup with Maryland coming into town there.
Ranked. I was looking at others receiving votes. They're 30th right now, 31st country, so they won't get in. Let me see.
Bama at A&M, which you never know with A&M in that spot, what they do. So there's some interesting games next week for sure.
There are.
Michigan at Minnesota is the NBC night game.
Depending, we didn't talk about it because neither of these teams are. Florida is ranked. Kentucky at Florida this week, and then Kentucky at
Georgia.
Who knows? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Kentucky, if Kentucky beats Florida, they're going to be ranked. And then going at Georgia, that's going to be a big game.
If it was at Kentucky, I might be a little more excited about it. But
that's fair.
Thinking about Kentucky between the hedges pulling it off, it's tough for me to have that.
Listen, they got rid of Will Levis, that bum. So now they have they're in a better position.
Florida, I think, in Jacksonville in a couple weeks, that could be an interesting game.
Yeah,
I don't trust Carson Beck.
World's biggest cocktail party. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is that game in Florida this week, or is it in Kentucky?
I believe it's
It's
at
at Kentucky.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, that's also noon. That's interesting.
Yeah, the noon slate's pretty fun. It's a good day. It's a good day of games all the way through. Like there's gonna be intrigue. At least one of the games in every slate is gonna turn out
We
to
need
be a
to talk
banger.
about. I didn't realize it. A&M Arkansas.
Yes, the Jerry Jones Bowl.
The Jerry Jones Bowl. Yeah.
Jerry World.
Game.
It
Southeast
might be
Classic or Southeast Classic, whatever they call it.
Those teams, I don't want to watch Texas A&M or Arkansas that much this year. No, so but it is fun to watch Jerry up there just hanging out.
He is.
Chris Christie.
He's always so evil looking.
Yeah. That's why he had Chris Christie up there last week. So
I didn't know that.
It's like what's Chris Christie doing in the box next to Jerry Jones?
I mean,
and then Chris Christie got memed to death this week too. So it's just like great timing for him.
Wow.
That's a bad look. What is he doing?
Jerry? I don't think he
No, did you see Chris Christie with his? Did you see the picture of him? No. You got to go on Twitter and look up. Just search Chris Christie, like right now. I want to see your live reaction.
I don't know if I want to.
It's pretty funny looking.
Let's see.
That's how we're finishing this up. Put it to the screen too.
Chris.
It'll pop up immediately. I promise. It's not a good look. That's what I mean. Like, who let him dress like that?
Why is his hip like that?
Who let him who let him come out there like that?
That's terrible.
Someone's gotta help him, man. He's got PR people. Like,
it's such it's so high.
It is so high. What kind of body does he have? Someone said he looks like Carl Weezer.
Yeah.
All right, shout out Jerry Jones. That's how we're gonna end the episode, I guess.
All right, that's fine with me.